Hi, I'm David with EV World News. We're talking about electric vehicles, green energy, and the stock markets. I am here today with our founder and chief editor, Bill Moore, and also our special guest, Marco Soriano from Soriano Motori. And he's coming to us from Europe. Where are you at today, Marco?
I'm at the world famous Palazzo Brancaccio, which is located in Rome, right next to the Colosseum.
Wow. Wow, Rome. That's pretty awesome. That's pretty awesome. Now, um, I know you through some friends that are in the green energy space. They do. One of my friends is a green bond banker, or a green. He does green investment banking, and so he introduced us, and I was really quite excited about that because you're in the electric vehicle space. And anyways,
You mean
I
like
look
green
at
as in,
some.
as in money green or green as an energy green?
Well, a little of both. I think both are possible, right?
Right.
Uh,
Yeah,
you know,
green it up.
both are possible, and I think a lot of people think that green energy is sort of a hoax.
Yeah.
Okay, because it's so ingrained in people that gas, LNG, nuclear, and to be fair, Bill and I are pro nuclear. Okay, if
Yeah,
it
me
makes
too.
sense,
Me
but
too.
um, you know, it's interesting to see the disinformation. Everybody thinks solar, so much of the population thinks solar is a scam. They think wind is a scam. They think electric vehicles are a Chinese method to infiltrate our society. Of course, this is coming from Americans, right? And I realize you normally live in the United States, but
Yeah, I do.
it's still,
There's a lot of misinformation, a lot of superstitions, a lot of I
Yeah.
like engines and grease and noise. I get it.
Yeah.
yeah. So it's a different look on how some of that plays, but you are a very unique individual in that you're part of the Soriano family. And my understanding was over 100 years ago, was it your great grandfather or great great grandfather?
No, no, no. Grandfather.
Grandfather.
That was engineer, mechanical, electrical engineer, who basically, as you know, it took us about 1,000 years from go to horses to cars, and he was part of the pioneers of the time in the late 1800s, and then towards
Wow.
1903 is when we started fabricating basically the very first cars in the world. The likes of Ford, Chrysler, Cadillac in the U.S., and we were in Europe doing the same.
So
Excellent.
it was started with cars in the late 1800s.
Yeah, 1893 were about the first designs that I've got records of with my family. Then 1903, we create a company called RACE, which was the very first association for racing these cars because there was a sports motive behind it. And in mass production didn't start until like 1907, 1910, and so on. So with the Soriano Pedroso, which was the car that we fabricated, was being made in the south of France in Biarritz and also in Paris at the time.
That's amazing. And so your family made these, and they made them in different countries because they had to, because of the World War II, they had to move countries.
We had to
And
move
so
around. We were pushed around because of the wars, both wars. Also, dictatorships happening during that time of the history in Europe. So we went from France down to Spain and back to Italy, to Switzerland, and back to Italy now. But we're also living in the U.S. because my generation went there to be educated. Children that
nice.
were born in the U.S., so it's kind of recreating the whole wheelhouse.
And that's really awesome. And so, in what year did you start making? So you guys have completely transitional. You're no longer in internal combustion engine motorcycles, correct?
Correct, correct. So the rebirth of
Everything's
this
EV.
company. Yeah, so I saw the trend. So I was my training in banking and doing automotive because I come from an automotive family gave me an edge in advising other families. For example, in 2005, we did the M&A of Chrysler and Fiat, which a lot of people at the time thought it was the craziest thing that a company like
Huh.
Fiat and Chrysler would come together. That we orchestrated the spin-off of that in 2009, and $22 billion later, everybody's like, okay, this is a good move.
Huh.
So then you got a public company like Stellantis,
Right.
Jeep, Chrysler, Fiat, Abarth, all the different brands that were part of that initiative that I was very young at the time too, that we did with a guy, Sergio Marchione, the CEO of Ferrari SPA.
All right.
So I learned a great deal from this man and the team, but also the background that I had with my family allowed me to knock on doors, and people would actually listen to what we had to say.
That helps.
Yeah, well, Dave will know this. I actually have a Fiat 500e up in the garage, and I love it. I love it. Yeah.
They're great cars. I mean, they're too small. I'm very tall. You know, I'm almost so bad.
Well, right.
They were good. I had those cars when I was, you know, growing up. My first girlfriends and all that, so it was cool.
Right. Oh, and I should also point out that over in the corner here, there's an electric bike that has an Italian-made all-in-one hub motor. So it's the battery and everything in the hub motor that I got from a company. I think they're in Milan. So I got a couple little Italian connections here.
Good. There you go.
Yeah. So Marco, Bill has been running evworld.com since 1998, and he was in the electric vehicle space before that. So he's really a veteran of, you know, seeing
the gray hairs.
Yeah, of the transition from nickel metal hydride batteries to lithium ion batteries to LFP batteries, and all the transitions.
Oh, even further, lead acid first, then nickel metal hydride.
Wow. Yeah. Well, it's an honor. What can I tell you? It's a very
it's delightful having you on with us. This is great.
All right. So, Marco, tell us a little bit about Soriano Motors' mission and vision.
So the vision started in 2019. I think the fourth quarter of 2019, I was down in Miami just thinking, what can we do with our legacy or family history, right? Celebrating 121 years as of today kind of gave me some perspective of reviving or rebirthing the brand and the pioneering mindset that we had at the time. And I kind of like to say things in a way that I can disrupt them. I like change, but also make things better. So having a narrative of having a historical brand behind me as a legacy of the family, as you may imagine, gave me a good challenge in hands. You know, I saw the likes of Elon Musk, what he did with Tesla, Lucid Motors, Lordstown, and all these different companies coming out of the woodwork. I really said, why not do this with our own family brand history, retell the story, and do it right, but start from scratch, right? Create an OEM, which is today the first OEM in Italy that is doing EVs with a great Italian design, great Italian engineering and manufacturing.
Question. So most of that's coming, you're manufacturing them in Italy. Where are you getting your batteries from? What kind of batteries are you using?
So the batteries, the circuitry, and the BMS, as well as the ECU, are built in-house. So we have electronics and electrical engineers that are putting it all together. Yeah, the Chinese, as you know, they're the ones that are well advanced in these technologies, and they have been all telling me, we can do this for you, we can do this for you. So all I do is buy the cells that I buy from KLB, and then we put them all together. We do basically everything from scratch. So I did it on purpose that way. Now that it's a modular system and it's proven to have all the peculiars, as I had mentioned earlier in a conversation with you privately, that we have a gearbox system in the motorcycle. So I adhere a gearbox, double engines connected to a battery or BMS, so that you have truly a real motorcycle that is energized or electrified as you EVs go. So there's nothing like it. There's simply nothing like it.
Not aware. Now, do you, and riding it, do you have to, like a regular gas bike, sort of tap down to get through the different gears and then lift up with the, that type of thing?
Correct. The way it's built is like any other traditional motorcycle. You have on your right-hand side brake systems in the front and on the back. And then on the left side with your left hand and your left foot, you switch gears.
Right.
So it goes up to 5 gears and it regulates.
So what was
performance, speed?
What was the advantage of that? Because nobody else that I know, and I've known the guys, literally the people that have been in this space since the beginning, right? I mean, so what's the rationale for doing that as opposed to just relying on the torque of the motor?
Sure. So, well, you've got the performance. You also have we have added like an ADA system so you can recharge batteries as you go, but you also have a larger autonomy or range in the motorcycle. So this motorcycle, even though the space is limited from within, can go up to 150 miles, which is more than enough for a nice trip to go back and forth. And then also the sound. There is sound to this motorcycle that is its own sound. It's not a silenced EV. And then we're working with technologies to even add more AI-based sound so that it can be more fun for the end client.
Speaking of AI, some of the questions that we're asking you were generated by AI. I was doing research today. There's a program called Pi that I use, and so I said, "Well, tell me about the Soriano," and I said, and it said, "Would you like, could I ask?" Basically, it asked me if it could ask some questions, and I said, "Sure, go ahead." So some of the questions that we're going to ask you are coming from AI.
Excellent. I'm glad that you're doing that because I use Chat GTP a lot. I mean, a lot of the suppliers today that I even found and I learned about within our infrastructure, let's call it, I have used AI to find them, specifically for what we're doing when we're targeting. So it works really well.
There's no question it does. So tell me what, now we've had one other electric motorcycle manufacturer on here, but they were in a completely different space. Okay. They were based out of the UK. They're selling in California and they're kind of limited to the European market, and they were very inexpensive. They look kind of like a Triumph bike. And so as an older, they were looking for an older classic British style. Okay.
Yeah, no, I got it.
So tell us what differentiates you guys.
Number of things. Listen, anyone who knows motors or motorcycles can allocate a supplier, most likely China, because this is where all's coming. And all you got to do is put it together and boom, you have a motorcycle. Here, what I've done is create a brand new category. It's its own typology. It's its own type of motorcycle. Looking at it from the fork system, which is excavated from aluminum titanium. If you look at the very front of the motorcycle.
Oh, nice.
There is not the stereotypical standard industrialized telescopic system that, is part of your suspension or shock system. So we adhere this in order to maintain the DNA of what was created back in the day, 1930s, by my grandfather. So this bike has a lot of symmetries and a lot of identities from what he had created at the time, which was, groundbreaking because there was no motor cycles. There were bicycles, but there was no motorcycles. And there was, the beginning of this business. Ducati came later, Moto Guzzi, Vespa, Piaggio Group, you name it. The only person that I can think of was Harley Davidson, which was a whole different typology.
Right.
So it's a creation of something new, very handcrafted, artisanal approach, and then the tradition meets innovation sort of approach is what makes it extremely different. And you can see from the lines, but also its own utility. Bespoke, 100%.
So we're in a very different price range on these, but in all fairness, I think you're in the 40,000s in the United States.
Actually,
is that about right?
Right.
50,000.
So it's more. So B2C, the B2C client who buys directly from the manufacturing plant will get that price. But as we're growing, and right now I'm very happy to say it, we're just signed with McLaren USA to become our distributor for North America.
Oh, there you go.
Nice.
So the price point that is going to go to market now that we're going to a B2B model will be 80 to 100 grand.
Nice. Yeah.
That's a bespoke bike, all right.
Exactly.
Yeah. That sounds like a good arrangement. So McLaren dealerships will be pushing it.
McLaren dealerships, Rolls-Royce, Koenigsegg. I mean, these guys are basically all over Canada and US, North America. We just signed. So So 2025, by the second quarter of the year, end of the second quarter, you're going to see Soriano motorbikes all over the states, and I'm very, very happy about this.
That's nice. That's nice.
So what's the plan for production in terms of the volume here? Is it going to be just strictly custom? So you're going to, I think Cadillac is introducing that with one of their high-end models. You're going to work with the customer and get the bike, the way they want within your design parameters, obviously.
Sure. So the initial phase was to do that, right? To create a customization approach where I call 50 of my best friends and they're all gonna buy it because they're my pal, right? And they're gonna support me. And that worked up until now. And then meeting McLaren goes to me, well, we need now I need 1,000 bikes. And I said, hold on a minute. Let's talk about this, because I need to now align my suppliers. I need to talk to Brembo. I need to talk to Pirelli. I need to talk to Marchesini, all the big players in the environment, to let them know what's happening. So this is why I'm in Europe right now, taking on these meetings directly with the CEO, so that we set up a standardized and industrialization plan. So we're gonna have a 20-year contract, and I can talk about this officially because it's not.
Okay,
a 20-year contract with them, where a minimum of 1,000 motorcycles will be purchased every year, and I'm pretty sure the demand is going to grow. This guy's made $3 billion last year in annual sales alone. So we're with the big players, and I'm very, very excited about this chance.
That's amazing. That's amazing. And always wishing you the best of luck with this, because we need good EV success stories. And there's a few things, and you and I discussed this a little bit, and I sometimes explain this to Bill. In the private equity space, when we're looking to put investment in a business, the money is always, do we believe this investment can make money, and the other two is, do we believe the CEO can execute? Okay,
for sure.
And that's
I'm the dictator in this company. There's no doubt.
So you're the El Duce over there, right?
El Duce for sure. That's what they actually call me internally, and I overheard it. And I immediately called my wife and I said, they call me Mussolini, honey. And I said, that's good.
Well, you're probably.
Oh my!
Yeah, but there's a cultural. I like to, there's a cultural barrier here too, that sometimes it's hard to understand being in America. Now, I study in the U.S. since I was 14, but my mindset is extremely American when it comes to getting things done. The dynamics of it. In Italy, it's more laid back, and the lead times tend to take longer. But the reason that is just because they really are perfectionists. I mean, you're not gonna make a Ferrari, and then put a Tesla next to it and say they're the same thing. No, absolutely. So it's a bespoke approach, artisanal approach, that it's the reason that it justifies the premium price of it, and then everything else that we discussed.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about your engineering, your team, and did you bring them in? What's their history? Have they built race bikes, or
Yeah,
who are the tinkerers behind this?
Well, thinkers, this is the vision. I've got engineers that have worked for all the big brands. 5 years ago, when I presented this on the table of engineers, I told them, I want to create an EV motorcycle. They said, okay, fine. Yeah, but I want to resolve the problems that we have with EVs. And they go, what? We need an engine. We need a double-headed engine. So, okay. But we need a chain. Okay. And they say, well, we also need a gearbox system. They go, whoa, why? I said, because a gearbox system offers you that transition that a traditional motorist is looking for. Otherwise, you go from that to throttle, and that's made as well just buy a moped and have fun with it. So they say, okay, we're going to work on this. And then I said to them, well, yeah, we need to also be able to customize this motorcycle according to what the client wants. That's the colors, calipers, we need ABS system, we need fast charging. And this guy just started like pulling their hairs like this. What the hell is this guy's all about? And the reason was because I'm myself a motorcycle rider, and I saw what we have been flooded with in our markets, which is extremely poor, low quality products, which are causing fires from left to right. And
Yeah.
cheap battery system. So this is why I didn't want any of those companies to do anything other than just give me the cell. This is what you do. I'll take care. So our technology as of today it takes up to 32 amperes on a level 2. It goes 0 to full charge in 5 hours, which is normal standard with an adapter in any type of infrastructure recharge point or charging point.
Okay.
What I'm looking to do is increase this to 80 amperes. So then the charging would be within an hour, which is already a big deal.
On level 2?
On level 2. Yeah.
Okay.
On level 2. For the type of batteries that we have. On level 3, which is fast charging capacity, then you need to start thinking about, okay, what type of batteries do I need? Because the structure and the material that you have in your batteries, as you already know, going from lithium iron phosphates to a polymer maybe of a sort that can take up to level 3 fast charging, but 80 amperes at the same time. That would allow you to charge your battery within 15 minutes. And that's what I'm aiming to do in a second version of this motor. Creating some product that you ride it, you have your 150 miles, but if you charge it in any box or anywhere, you will have a full charge within 5 to 10 minutes.
So there obviously there's different charge ports, styles of charge ports. You know, here in the U.S., we're starting to go over to the basic, I'll call it the Tesla port, as opposed to the more common that we've seen. In Europe, I gather it's different ports. Yeah. So how do you, when they come to you and they say, look, I live in California and I want my bike customized to plug into a Tesla supercharger, right?
Yeah.
Whereas in Europe, you might use, the European, and I've even forgotten the names now, the Menke or whatever it is, charge points. So how do you handle that when you're thinking about getting the bikes fast charged?
Yeah, it's not just the U.S. Every continent has its own modality for the type of energy output that they have. So the U.S. is 220 voltage versus 110.
Right.
So the adapter that we sell with the bike allows you to, be able to be compatible to whether it's a box or a column charging point. You mentioned Tesla. Tesla has these columns industrialized that they're putting in various buildings now throughout the streets or hotels. The real business here is residential, right? Because when you buy an EV, the big question that you have as a consumer is where the hell I'm going to be charging this thing? And everybody wants to have it at home. So it has become a big business to buy a Tesla and have the box installed at home for $400. That's exactly what we're going to be doing. But the adaptability and the compatibility of this adapter that we give to the client it's the same thing. It's just graduating. It's one port to the next, just like you would with a cell phone. Whenever you're traveling the world, that you can buy an adapter, a universal adapter, and travel with it. We're also doing a portable charger so that you can take with you 32 amperes, and it's not that heavy at all. It's like maybe 25 pounds that you can walk into somebody's home visiting, and you plug it in and you connect your EV and so on. So we are looking to a number of solutions in order to address this problem today. Thinking time as infrastructure development takes over and grows is not going to be an issue. But going back, when we started ICEs in the 1900s, it was the same thing. How many gas stations existed at that point?
Yeah.
People were like, should I leave my horse at home or drive my car? Because I have no idea where I'm going to put gas in.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. What was it? Mercedes used, what was it, peanut oil or something like that at one point?
Well, it's all sort of derivatives right? You go from naphtha, benzene to diesel to all the different variations and grades of what you use, depending on the engine that you have. I mean, we all know, right? Price of oil changes dramatically depending on how the social political environment also implies.
So where are you at in the? I mean, have you set it up? Are you starting to take orders now, or are you at the point where? Have you? Okay, great. Tell us about that.
Well, the orders, the first contract is going to be through the U.S. or my market target is the U.S., North America, through McLaren at this point.
Okay.
So those orders are going to be 1,000 units per year over the next 20 years. So we're looking at filling that up first. Then I have distributors in Europe, already have one in France, Turkey, Spain, Portugal. Italy, we can do B2C. So if you live in Italy and you want a bike, one of our bikes is going to cost you less because I can simply deliver it to your home.
Right.
Door.
Right.
It's the exportation fees that will be quite different. But it's the master plan. Right now, we're looking at, we have a master distribution agreement. McLaren wants exclusivity on the product, which is fine with me as long as they can really sell.
All right.
And that's part of the deal. You know? You start dating before you're married.
Right. Yeah. How about the homologation? How are you dealing with those issues? How's the U.S. different from what you'd find in Europe?
No. So we're working with DEKRA, DEKRA. DEKRA is well known for homologation processes and certifications all globally. You look at the FIA or Formula One, DEKRA is one of the biggest sponsors there because they do.
Okay.
So the testing in really in EVs, as you already know, it's magnetic fields, your interruption. So how do you impede your motorcycle from being shut down from an EMP unless you're going to worry and that's what happens. They can shut down your vehicle. But other than that, the engines, the warranties, and everything that we're manufacturing are typical 2 to 3 years from our own manufacturers and clients. Now, McLaren is going to take care of this post-market service as well. So
okay,
I'm very
great.
confident they're going to do a good job.
So with car manufacturers, you get a 8 year, 100,000 miles, or if you're in California, it might be 10 years, type of thing. What are you guys offering on your warranty system?
3 years. So the battery system's 3 years, the engine system 3 years, the gearbox system 3 years. We're not doing 8 years because we're first to market, and I don't know how we're gonna be able to upgrade and update the systems from remotely,
right?
Which may help. But again, this is like Tesla first version when it came to market, and then now they're buying them all back. I can buy back probably these products from our very initial clients, upgrade them, and resell them to the market.
Okay. Okay.
So that's kind of the model right now, as I'm thinking.
Now, a lot of these guys have are introducing and testing their bikes in a racing environment, right? And so, have you got any plans to set up a, Soriano race team to participate, or how are you doing that?
Absolutely. So right now we already had a racing team with Porsche, what has nothing to do with the EVs, but I'm promoting the name. We like to eventually have the Soriano racing circuit where people are gonna just ride. We used to do it, by the way, with the Soriano motorcycles back in the 1930s, 1940s. I've got amazing black and white footage. We've been on the History Channel all over Europe many times. I like to recreate that. Find the right pilots. Right now, we're associated to the Federation of Racing for Motorcycles in Spain and Italy, which are the top 2 countries in competition when it comes to MotoGP and so on. So I want to have competition. I want to show why the product is superior to many other brands, not to mention names. But that's a different model. That's a different business model, as you know. Having your racing team and all that is completely different. But it does support the brand. It does help. I think the work that McLaren is going to do with their own marketing in-house, with their own clients and network, it's going to help tremendously the growth and demand of this company.
Okay. Now, I've known people in this space, like I said, from very early on. Some of them aren't around anymore. Some of them are still kind of struggling to, keep their heads above water and things.
Yeah.
I have had an opportunity to, tour one of the California-based factories, and they're still doing okay. They're doing well. So, I mean, how are you guys? This exciting. It's really great, but how do you keep that momentum going and continue to build? You're going to rely entirely on your McLaren connections, or have you got deeper pockets?
Well, you sound like my wife before I got married. You needed to be financially sound. Like, should we get married? Can you buy a house? Can you afford to pay my bills? Listen, I'm a financial guy. I'm a business. I'm a banker. So as long the U.S. approaches, you have to have at least enough money in your pocket for the next 6 months to survive, whether something happens. So we are, in that sense, well covered.
Okay.
Obviously, leveraging the contracts that we have for the next 20 years is a huge leverage with any type of banking, commercial banking, or even private lending. So as of now, I'm speaking to everyone. I'm speaking to everyone about that so that we can leverage production and growth over the next few years. But this is not anything new. Companies that actually have distribution. I always, and I repeat, say cash is king, distribution is King Kong.
Yeah.
We have the distribution now set
Yeah.
up, so I think that's our ace in the hole.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, my friend Pi, the Chat GPT that I rely on as my personal assistant anymore, mentioned that you're into crypto and NFTs. Is there a connection to what you're doing with the bikes?
Yes, absolutely, 100%. We're also the only company in the globe accepting crypto as a form of payment. So if there are crypto people out there, we're fully integrated vertically with Shopify, and Shopify allows you to take credit cards, wire transfers, as well as cryptocurrency. So we use cryptocurrency. We can take any crypto. We basically take the payment, exchange it to whether it's dollars or euros that we need for, maintain our production and our operations. But yeah, this is a big thing, and this is something that I keep repeating. There's not enough technological adaptation to businesses, and this is the reason that a lot of them got out of business. Now, when e-commerce was created, when people you can buy anything online instead of going to the retailer or going to the store, everybody was like, why? That's not gonna work. That's never gonna take off. And then PayPal happens, and then Amazon happens, and then eBay happens. And today, you can buy anything sitting down at home or in your bed, and this is what people do. This is how people consume. So we're taking it a step further to prove to the world that technological adaptation in this company, at least, is happening.
Okay. Well, unfortunately, my Cardano ADA account isn't quite up to where I'd like it to be to invest it, to pay you for a bike. So we'll may have to wait on that.
No problem. I'll take your Bitcoin. Don't worry about it. Yeah, it's a huge market. It's valid to say that right now, when you're looking at the market cap of the crypto community, which is very speculative, regardless, it's in the hundreds and hundreds of billions of dollars already.
Yeah.
So it is very unresponsible to not look at that community and look at that market as a potential purchasing community. So
yeah, I mean, so how do you feel about it? I just saw something that BlackRock is setting up an EFT or something like that, and it seems like the mood of the Harris administration is starting to take an interest in crypto, and of course, the opposition has come out and has his own meme coin now or whatever it is. He does. I don't think he understands what crypto is, but they're dabbling with that. So you see, are we starting to kind of see more of this being accepted as we move forward?
Yes, 100%. I think Europe and Asia, in comparison, in contrast to as well to the US, is completely 5 to 10 years ahead. There are whole cities where you have over 500 companies registered that would be accepting cryptocurrency, and it's more than just transactional at that point.
Right.
We in the US have started now, tapping and paying with your phone, smartphones or Samsung phones. Whereas these people over here are transacting cash. We have companies like Bankmo where you can send money back and forth without any bank fees. Yeah. So bank fees is a thing of the past.
Yeah.
Nobody wants to pay. Nobody should be paying that. You know what else is a thing of the past? Forex exchange. Why would I pay you every time I'm transacting euros to dollars?
Yeah.
When we're buying exactly the same. So these are all big questions. The government charges you money and a percent every time you take more than $10,000 out of the bank account.
Yeah.
Why?
Yeah.
So this is all part of this evolution of the monetary system, the economy, and I think essentially in all companies that are really making the right moves, it will move the needle. It will change things.
Okay.
So why not, learn about it and do it? And it's been around for almost 20 years now. So it's not like yesterday.
Yeah, I had an opportunity once to buy Bitcoin when it was $200. I thought it was too speculative.
You sold it. And you got rid of it when it was 201, I'm sure.
No, I never bought. Then I hung around and got, Anyway, we won't go there.
Yeah, nothing beats the story about the first Bitcoin transaction that was used to buy a pizza. It cost like 2 Bitcoin to buy a pizza.
Yeah.
It's like now you could buy the whole franchise, or you could buy your own, restaurant for that.
Man, I met a lot of, I've met a lot of these crazy people in the world, crypto guys. They go around with sandals and they look dirty, and you're like, what the hell? This guy is a billionaire. Okay.
Yeah.
I met a lot of them. So
yeah.
it's all possible. Here's a fact. It is understood that in the next 10 years, about 75% of the companies publicly listed in the S&P 500 will be dropped. And the reason that is because there will be dropped from the S&P 500. 75% of these companies. This is research all throughout the banking system. The reason that is because technology changes so quickly that big corporations are too bureaucratic to even adapt to it. Fascinating. Yeah. One of the most recent cases was Toys R Us, right? Toys R Us went out of business. Why? Because they didn't have a good e-commerce system. Now you go to Walmart, you go to Costco, and you'll find toys. You can buy toys for your children.
Yeah.
Or any other CVS. This is the market. So either people are seeing the technology and the trends and patterns and they're going for it, or they're not. The end consumer will always find it no matter what, because they need it, they want it.
Now, I understand you're also looking at or doing electric bicycles as opposed to electric motorcycles. Is that true?
Scooters, bicycles. I'm projecting all sorts of stuff. Even a car. Right now I'm working with a large group. I can't say the name yet. It's not official, but we're working on a car concept. What I would like to do, and I can say this, is I like to bring back the 1926 car that we used to make, which is a classic Bugatti style car. If you look up Soriano cars, you'll see this model. It's actually one of the biggest collectors in California that I met through the Peterson Museum. And I can photo scan this car and remake this, but also create a modern car. So I like to bring to market the old classic Soriano and the modern classic Soriano.
Oh, cool.
And sell that for the 2 cars for the price of one. Obviously, the price tag on this is going to be very sexy.
Yeah. I want to see somebody bring back the Auburn.
There you go. Yeah.
Well, is this it? Is this it, Marco?
That's the one you can see. Yeah, that's the one, the black one. It's it. The black one that you see there is the one that I want to remake.
Down the corner. Okay. Oh, yeah. That was a race car, right?
It's a race car that we made for the very first competitions in Monaco for Le Mans.
Oh. Yes. Hey, speaking of Monaco, I have an acquaintance of mine named Gilles Pasteur who had gotten into motorcycles and things. Do you know that name?
No, unfortunately, I don't. So
okay.
Ask him if he knows me, though.
Well, I haven't spoken to him in a long time, unfortunately. So, but anyway,
you'll find him in museums. It's great. It's a great. Listen, we have such a beautiful and rich history that I like to be able to retell it to my kids, my grandkids later on in life, and it's all about the legacy and succession.
That's going to be
close to my heart.
Yeah, that's going to be an electric vehicle.
Optional.
Okay, because I was wondering about that exhaust pipe coming back.
Yeah, I'm sure the environmentalist people will be throwing X at me if they see something like that on the street.
Yeah.
But it's optional, because if the client is paying 5-10 million, whatever that car will be,
I
have to. They have to choose whatever.
Yeah. Well, I think that's kind of the attitude. I'm trying to think which. Who is it? Ferrari, or I can't remember. One of the executives of one of these custom, elite cars, basically said he has to do the same thing. He has to, respond to what. And I would gather, if you're worth billions, you're not so much concerned about what you pay for a gallon of gasoline. So.
Yeah. So one thing that we are doing that I could mention here is that we have a metaverse. In the metaverse, we are showcasing prototypes in a 3D.
Oh, okay. System. All right.
So if you go to SorianoMotori.com and you go into our metaverse, you can actually see different.
I've actually played with that stuff. I've got a little bit of background in that.
Nice. So what I like to do is run surveys and market test it, so that if the consumer, the end consumer, is going to tell me how much they would pay for it,
Right.
and if they want it, and then I'll make it. You know, I'm like I said, I take that approach of customization, which is Bespoke as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's some of my
Excellent.
crazy ideas. I mean, I got crazy vision. You know, I'm pretty sure at one point I'll meet Elon Musk. I actually took the liberty to write to his whole board not that long ago, and hopefully they'll answer to me one day.
Yeah. Yeah.
Let's meet this crazy guy.
I wanted to ask you, do you have any sustainability goals for the company?
Sustainability in terms of an ESG framework. First of all, listen, when it comes down to this, it's educating people and explaining to them what that actually means. You know, from an environmental perspective, the social impact on the amount of production that we're going to have is not really do much of a difference. But I'll tell you this. And a story that was told to me a long time ago about a kid walking down the beach with his dad, and he sees like all these sea stars just washed off on shore, and the child starts throwing them back into the sea. And the father just says to him, "What the hell are you doing? You're not going to make any difference." And the child says, "Maybe not to all of them, but to the ones that I throw back in the water." And that's my attitude. You know, I may not be the giants of the industry, but as a small guy, I can influence the few. And I think that's enough for me to be happy about what social impact or investment impact we are making.
All right.
So when do you expect your bikes are going to be available in the United States with McLaren?
Going to go to Charlotte, North Carolina, just letting people know. We're looking at June, July, August deliveries at this point.
2025.
2025.
Okay.
2025. Yeah, not right away. But we do have a couple of them out there and circulated in the United States. Right now, it's in Dallas, Fort Worth, where we set up a shop, a lab, and we're doing upgrades and studies and analysis.
Well,
what's interesting about.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say that Dave and I live just a few miles off of Interstate 80. So if you're traveling from Chicago to Denver, well, think about having the trailer stop here briefly.
You got it. You got it. Right now it's in Dallas, Fort Worth, which I love because the culture there, as you know, is very cowboyish, big cars, big noise, and you know, you look at an electric motorcycle and everybody stopped by and like, what the hell is that you got here, man? So that was quite interesting to see how these guys and they gave me some really great feedback, so that's always good. So.
Good.
Yeah, it's really interesting. In the United States, I think a lot of the adoption of EVs is kind of the neighbor effect. As your neighbors start getting them, other people start getting them. There's so many people in the United States that are like afraid of EVs. They think there's something like there's a sinister devil worship or something component to electric vehicles, and I don't know. I mean, I haven't actually heard anybody say that part, but I'm just saying like there's just something inherently evil to EVs, and it's really weird to see how much people think that the batteries explode and all this other stuff, and it's like, well, some of them catch on fire. It's pretty hard to make one explode.
Well, this is why I'm big on quality control, and this is one of the reasons that I'm doing this in Europe, because here high quality control is extremely important, and we internalize a lot of the procedures and the processes so that we can have high eyes on everything that we can.
All right.
As much as possible. Part of the liability product insurance, let's talk about that, because that could be extremely expensive.
Yeah.
It's that they understand that we have safety guards on everything that we're producing, and that when they do the underwriting of an insurance product for us, for every product that we have got, it's part of the conversation. It's one of the very first questions that they have. If my product was made in China, I would not even bring it to the United States at this point.
Yeah. Yeah.
No, that it really is a cool thing that it's Italian made, and that you're doing pretty much everything in China. We had Bill and I are kind of really lukewarm about hydrogen, and Toyota Mirai is sold at such a discount currently that units in Ukraine have been buying them and turning them into bombs, and they've been turning them into motorized remote controlled car bombs, and apparently the hydrogen helps with the detonation. And it's really funny. It's like EVs aren't exploding, but people always try to tell me, but what about hydrogen? Hydrogen's going to take over, and it's like, No,
Yeah, hydrogen
no.
cell. Listen, you're looking at hydrogen cell fuels and the whole that whole industry, which is, people are talking about it from a family office perspective. Is that who pollutes the most in our mobility environment or industry are the airplanes and the cargo ships, and even the truck trailers. When you're looking at a motorcycle or a bicycle,
Yeah.
the application of hydrogen cell fuels to these items is not really too much. But when it's more available, definitely I would look into it. But right now, it would be too much, too expensive for us to even consider it.
No, I know. We're not excited about hydrogen at all.
Okay.
I
then
just
hydrogen-
it's just
Yeah.
That's
interesting
what I
because
said.
yeah. So we see all kinds of news on different technology, and hydrogen's been around. I realized the first EV was made in like 1830 or something like that, electrified carriage. But as far as years on the market in modern times, hydrogen's been around for a while, and it just
Yeah, it was easier, right? It was the oil rush that were found during the time, fossil reserves and all that. I think that a good process of desalinization was also presented back in the 1800s, which from my research, I've learned. But desalinization, like taking salt water and transforming that into bottled water into energy, it takes a lot of energy. Like
Yep.
in New York State, even though we have the Niagara Falls, which fits into the hydraulics or the hydroelectric plants, it's still a very expensive thing to do. So economics and political will at this point is really part of the whole process.
Yeah, whenever we hear people, like we're pro-nuclear, but unfortunately the economics of nuclear isn't great either. And it's a challenge to put all that money into it and make it kick out, electricity on the far side after that enormous investment.
Plutonium, uranium. I'm gonna say, you want me to start building like Back to the Future cars? No problem. Basically, where you're gonna end up.
You need that blender in the back of the car.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
right.
Yeah. Well, anyways, I'm pretty good, I think. Bill, you got anything else?
This has been, well, I'd love to sit down and talk more crypto and things and VR and AR, but that's kind of off topic here. So maybe you and I can chat some other time. But yeah, I love what you're doing, and I wish you the best. Like I said, I've seen many come and go, and some still struggling, and I want you to really be successful. And damn, those are good. Those are good looking bikes.
Putting the word out through channels like yours helps a lot, because you guys are doing a great service to this revolution or evolution, as I call it. So thank you for having me. I'm very honored. And then retelling the story, just educating people. It's not just about the numbers; it's about the vision and the people behind.
Right. Yes. Yeah.
Is this the first time you publicly announced or discussed the McLaren?
Yes.
Yeah, that's awesome. We appreciate that.
We got a first. Thank you.
Yeah.
Let's see what we say. Buongiorno.
Buongiorno. Buongiorno, USA. Yeah. McLaren people, I'm going to call them. They're going to be, oh, this is awesome. Thank you. They're good people. I really like them. They're great people, full of energy, super wealthy people too as well. So they like to have a good time in life. Yeah. But the point here is that, we are aiming to stay. I always said it to all my investors as well. We're here to stay.
Good.
All right. Anyways, we really do appreciate you being on. I'm going to go ahead and end the show for today. And folks, thanks for watching.